I'm here at the Heights in London with Paul Young, nonetheless. 35 years since the No Parlez album came out, and he's going to tour again. And the tour, guess what? It's called No Parlez. Yeah, amazing. So, I mean, it seems the other day, really, that this your album came out. For me, at least. Yeah. I feel like I'm still living the 80s in my heart. And how much has Paul Young changed musically and personally as well? So many years of music.
Well, if you think about that, there's been probably a far bigger change in my life in those 35 years. You know, I was single then, had no family, had no children.
So many.
Yeah, it's just so many things have changed. Yeah, when No Parlez came out, my whole world changed. Really, my life changed. It would never be the same again. I think it's all been good so far. You know, 90% good.
I bet, yes. And then looking at your 35 years of career in music, and what would you do differently, and what would you do the same again? Would you change anything if you could go back in time, time machine? Is there, if at all?
Yeah, I don't know if I would change that much. I think that I maybe would have worked harder at writing songs. It's something I got better as I got older. When I was younger, I didn't have the patience to sit and write songs. But that's something that I could have crafted a bit more, you know.
Yeah, surely. And I'm talking a lot about your fans. I got a shout out, you know, so I'm meeting Paul Young, tell me all the, and especially one big fan in Italy, obviously, talking about Italy, and he called Gianpaolo. He said that your version of Joy Division's Love Will Tear Us Apart is the best ever. So it's still, you know, people still carry these songs in their heart. Honestly, your songs have been, you know, changing, maybe making love stories start. You know, so it's like those things that happen over 30 years. People can say it now. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, you know. There's certain songs like Every Time You Go Away.
Especially that.
Yeah, especially that one, because there's so many people that work in the Air Force, the Army, and the Navy, and they all get that separation. And so songs like that, it means a lot to those kind of people. I didn't think about that when I decided to do that song, but it's quite interesting how it does become a part of people's lives.
Absolutely, music is in general.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for me, music is everything is everywhere. I keep singing in my head all the time. My guitars. Everybody has a special song, even if they don't play it.
Yeah.
You know, and one thing, your big friend Zucchero, we met him recently. He speaks so much. You know, you can see his love coming for you. You know, like as a biggest friend. He said he calls you like a family friend. And he said he was talking about your on Italian holidays.
Yes.
And also back then, you know, like when both his kids and your daughters were in Italy, and they were playing in this backyard with the chickens.
Yeah, that's right.
He said not the chicken, the pavone.
Pavone.
In Italian is the one
What's
that.
the word?
The peacock.
Oh yeah, the peacock.
He said that, he mentioned that,
yes.
I remember that kind of
they
anecdote.
were fascinated by all these.
Yeah, what are your memories about those holidays in Italy? Talking about Italy and summer.
Well, we used to go, and it wasn't just myself and Stacey and the children, but even my mother-in-law. The whole crew. And we would stay at Zucchero's house. He loved it, you know, he loved the company. And he was very clever in that he toured for most of the year, and then when it came to the summer, he would actually stop so that he could enjoy the summer. He he's fastidious, you know, in his work and his life. So he'd be having meetings with management and accounting and things, but still would find the time to come in. We'd go to the beach together with our children, his friends. We used to have such a good time.
If you look at his interview, it's in Italian, but it's written in the latest magazine.
Yeah.
He tells all about those moments with you, and he says, Paul's daughters are so gorgeous now. They're grown up, and he told us a lot about you. So it means you mean a lot to him, obviously.
Really nice.
And who was your musical inspiration? We asked this question to Zucker as well, so nice to compare notes between you two. And when you were a teenager, what made you go into this type of music now? What was your musical inspiration?
Well, it's like a progression of things, really. So you start listening to, I suppose the first thing I listened to was English rock music when I was 12 years old. But a lot of the English rock bands that I liked would mention American stars. So then I would look to the American stars like Otis Redding.
The same as Zucker, we said the same.
Yeah,
Otis Redding.
Yeah, because Paul Rodgers was an English singer in a band called Free, but he would always mention Otis, Wilson Pickett, Sam Cooke, Joe Tex, all these. Rod Stewart would mention Sam Cooke as well. So all these people. So I was then learning about that and the soul side of rock and R&B, and then you just move along and you move along, and then I used that grounding and that as the base of. Then I started to build my own music from that base, and then it just became whatever it became. I just let it happen, and it just came out.
Yeah, brilliant. You have duetted with many people, 35 years. I mean, the biggest one for me personally is the one with Zucker, the Saints on Adonai. He sang it without you on Sundays. I didn't feel the same. It's the best version is with you. I mean,
but because it was a hit in Italy first, as with Zucker on his own, and that's when I first heard it. And then I thought,
but the combination of the two voices in that song in particular is extraordinary. I think that song it was meant to be sung between you two. I think when I watched the video again on YouTube many times, I think, and when he sings it on his own, I think I always hope, now Paul is coming. His voices, but it doesn't, and it's different. Together is meant to be. It was meant to be together. And are there any other duets you would like to do, or other people you would like to work with at that level? If any.
All of the duets I've done, they've kind of happened by accident.
This is the same that he's.
So with the Zucchero one, we just met. He came to a studio where I was recording, and we met. So then I'd only heard one or two things, but then I think when I was recording in Milan, it coincided with Zucchero's first big hit. The blues album was the biggest at that point. So then we got to know each other, and then we decided to record together. And then the same thing happened, and I did a duet with Chaka Khan on the Other Voices album, and that was a happy accident. I went to a Stevie Wonder concert. She was there, and we started a conversation. And I said, I'm recording a song that you did with Rufus, and it's a song called Stop On By. It was written by Robbie Womack. And so she said, I'd love to do that song with you. So I went, oh really? Yeah, great, So every time it's been what they call a happy accident. And they're really good things to happen. So I don't think I'd really like to work with that person, really. But when something comes along, I grab that moment.
And any advice you would give to young musicians or singers? Because you guys from the 80s or from the 60s even, like I've interviewed the songs, heard Beach Boys, they're still around in their 90s. I mean, the people from then, they crafted their music. It meant to be, music was their life. And now I think people are more distracted by so many things happening.
There are a lot
social
more
media.
distractions. So it's a very different animal now, the music business. It's not the same. It's difficult for me to give younger musicians advice because the young musicians I know that are doing very well, it happens in a totally different way. They're ready to move from one band to another band because because with the fans there's not so much loyalty. And in the 80s, when they like somebody, like they like Zucchero, they're a fan and they buy album number 2, album number 3, album number 4. And but now they buy the first album, and then if they hear the second album, they go, not sure. And then they push that away and they go somewhere else. So I think the mentality of a musician now has to be different.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm talking about your sort of bands and everything. You've been with the Bacaminas for at least 20 years?
25.
25 years, yes. Looking back, 25 years. So then you've been very loyal to your, and obviously there's something special between you guys.
There is, yeah. In fact, we're going to Italy for the first time in 2 weeks.
I'm sure you will be very well welcome in Italy.
You think?
Oh, I'm sure.
I think people
they still
will
remember you so much.
Yeah, but when they see Los Pecaminos, they'll go.
No, they love us. Yes. With a big Mexican hat.
Yeah, so they're going to find it a bit confusing. But no, there is a very special bond. There's 7 of us and we're very, very close. It's a very happy music, and I think when you get, as I get older in the music business, I want to enjoy the music as much as possible. So playing a happy kind of music, even in the sad songs, they're reflecting on sad things that have happened, but they're still positive. They're going, well, that won't happen again.
Yes.
I learned from this mistake, and I'll go on. So the ballads are quite romantic, and the up-tempo songs are just very happy and humorous.
Brilliant. And will you, maybe one day, I'm thinking, maybe you can create some Mexican soul or something.
Well, that was how it started.
Yeah.
Well, because Ry Cooder, who first did this kind of thing, he had 3 R&B singers, really good ones, Bobby King and Willie Green Jr. and Terry Evans. They had lovely voices. But underneath this was someone playing a bajo sexta and someone playing accordion, Flaco Jimenez on accordion, and a Mexican drummer. Mexican drummers are very different to the way an American drummer plays. It's slightly off, So I was interested in why Ry Cooder was using these musicians with R&B singers, and so it was a hybrid.
Nice, I like hybrid.
Yeah.
It's very trendy. Hybrid is now the thing,
Yeah.
Right. Another question about your touring and music. You've been touring in a lot of countries. In which country have you found the warmest welcome? If there is any in particular that you would say the fans were so.
I played a lot. It tends to go from town to town.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you play a big town and then they're like this because they've seen it all before. And sometimes you play a big town and they know how to party. Then you go out and play a small town and they don't know what to do at a concert. And then other times they have a great time. So I'd say probably, when we did the ballroom concerts in Italy, they were all over.
In Italy, you're really, really big. Still. And is there any superstitious ritual that you follow before going on to the stage? No. Nothing. That's great. No superstitions. We don't.
No superstitions.
Because I think do have.
Yeah, I know.
Even tennis players like Rafa Nadal is not always.
Oh yeah. But then what I always say, because they say, do you have a ritual before you go on? You have to do this and this and this. And I say, no, my ritual is I don't do a ritual.
It's like a slavery then.
Well, because then if you can't do that ritual, you'll go, oh my God.
Yes, that's it, yeah. I think so. I think it's better.
Yeah.
Just I just wanted to ask. And where do you feel at home when not at home? Because you like, if there is a place in the world.
I go to Italy every day. If it's not, if I don't see Zucchero, if he's not there, then I go, not have friends on Lake Como. Go there. My children went there every year, so now they can't wait to go there.
Yes, I'm going in the 2 weeks.
We're all going again this year.
So much party going on. So I love enjoying the beach parties. It's just still
it's nice to swim in the. It's a very different thing to swim in the lake.
I wouldn't do it.
Oh no, it's lovely.
It's lovely. Okay, colder or still like
cold? I don't know. The water feels different.
Okay, maybe things to try. Now we're talking about something that I really love. I mean, I like cooking. You know, you're a big chef now. You're like a big chef in your own home, or for friends and family.
Yeah.
But you've been on TV as well with your cookery.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What's your favorite meal to eat and to cook? Or if there are two different ones. If you have had any special occasion, cook something special.
Well, just recently, because it's nearly the summer holidays, I'm in kind of Italian mode. The kids, they want more sort of pasta and this kind of thing, so we're getting ready for the Italian holiday.
Putting yourself in the mood.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So I like to do homemade pesto, I love doing that.
Yes.
So I make it fresh with basil.
Which is so easy.
It's very easy.
It's so easy, I don't understand why.
And the other one my children love is the basil and the lemon and the parmesan and the olive oil. That's lovely as well. So we do all those little tastes of the summer.
Yeah, I understand.
But then I like to cook Cajun food at home because here in the UK we don't have any Cajun restaurants. You don't see Louisiana food much in London.
Yeah. So the connection with the Tex-Mex.
Oh yeah, and also I love Mexican food as well.
Oh yeah,
I only do it once every 6 months, but I make a mole sauce.
It's a bit more laborious.
It takes about 4 hours. Yeah, it's a lot of.
Like when I make lasagna, but the proper one with a ragu that cooks for hours and hours. I do it once a year. The proper, the proper one, the recipe from my grandmother.
Yeah.
I only make it once a year, for like New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
That's my special.
But if you can do that, it's great. And the good thing about making a sauce, a mole sauce, is that then you put it in small containers and then put it in the freezer.
Yes, I'll do that with the lasagna.
Yeah, so now if I think, fancy mole, okay,
Out of the freezer.
And then you get the chicken.
Yeah, you're very passionate about the food,
Good.
which is great. And for me as well, I'm writing cookery books, Italian, about Italy, which are more like Italian food and lifestyle, like trying to educate the folks out there, whether English or Americans, that actually it's easier than you think, and also that learning through the food, learning about the culture and the spirit of the country, which is not much out there as much as I would like to. Though many chefs have done a good job, educating the audiences. And if you tell me, actually, one other thing I wanted to ask you. With Zucchero also, we talked about the connection between food and music, which is quite an interesting one. And he mentioned that he thinks that there's a connection between his food, which he likes, that like he talked about some food in Italy, and blues. So the food he eats is like the food that reflects the blues. And when he went to Louisiana, I saw that they were eating the same fish that he was eating, like the catfish that they eat in Louisiana and they eat it in Emilia. Like he said, the connection between the food and the blues. That was amazing. I love that. What do you think about this? And do you think musicians connect with food in a special way, or?
Yeah, I do, because when I'm playing with Los Pacaminos, I'm not just exploring the music side of it, I've also explored the food side of it.
Yeah.
Because you get to know about their music, you get to know about their food, you get to know about the people.
Yes.
Through those two things.
That's what I.
Then you have an understanding of the people.
Yeah. And tell me your kind of. If you tell me your culinary secrets, I'll tell you mine. My motto in cuisine, cooking. What would it be?
If you tell me yours,
That's not fair. Okay, I'll tell you mine. Mine is, and it's very much Italian cuisine, right? Secret. It's not a secret, it's out there, but that's my motto. It's less is more.
Yeah.
In Italian cuisine, less is more. Because
it's the truth.
people like in England or America, when they cook Italian cuisine food, they put lots of stuff in. I said, whoa, wait a second, hold on,
Yeah.
Just put the right ingredients. She said, tasting every single ingredient, like the basil, the pesto for example,
Yeah.
the basil, the olive oil, it has to be special ingredients,
Yeah.
specially selected, not anything, just you have to special, but something special, like not throwing all the sorts of spices together, hoping for the best.
Yeah, it's the same thing, because then in the end, you've got a confusion of flavours. And you're not
confusion of
tasting any
flavour.
one thing. So, therefore, if you're eating tomatoes, you need 3 ingredients, that's it. Some salt, some olive oil, some pepper.
And that's
Maybe
amazing.
some oregano.
Yeah, maybe, but then it will feel like a pizza. I feel like in Italy we use oregano only very scarcely, only when it's because it's strong.
Yeah.
You cover everything else.
Well, Mexicans have their own oregano, it's even stronger, so you have to be very careful with that. I got a rule.
Ooh, I didn't want to put you on the spot. I gave you mine.
I haven't got a rule for all food,
No.
but when I make a red pasta sauce, tomato pasta sauce, my kids always say, yours always tastes better than when I make it. And I just say, the only thing I do different to you is I reduce it just a bit more. They leave too much of the juice, so I have to go, no, you need another few minutes, maybe I could get a little bit
That's what
longer.
my grandmother
And then the
used to.
concentration of the flavour is much stronger.
Yeah, ragu alla bolognese, like
Yeah.
you need at least 4 hours to cook it 4 hours, so it needs to really reduce. So that's
So you do it on a very low heat, do you?
it has to be low heat. Yeah. These days there are these pans that you know like slow cookers.
Yeah.
Slow cookers are great because you
Yeah.
can leave it there
Yeah.
for very long. And
Yeah.
great. But
I
it's
just got
long.
one of those the other day.
Yeah, me too. It's
I've
great.
done 2 or 3 different things in it, and it's great.
It's great.
Yeah,
The
it's
slow cooking is also like maybe we're going back a little bit to the 80s to the 70s. Slow life, slower because the
Yeah.
pace is pretty intense,
Pace
especially in
is
London.
intense. Yeah,
It's
it is
crazy.
crazy.
I would like to go back with a time machine for just a week in the 80s. Wouldn't you like that? To
It
kind of-
would be very
with your
interesting to see what it's
wisdom,
like, yeah.
with the wisdom that we've got now.
And would it be quite as good as we remembered it?
Yes.
Maybe not.
Yes, I would always love that. To go back into the 60s even, that I'm not even from the
Yeah, that I would like to.
because it's something I've never experienced.
Yeah.
Even the 70s, because I was born in the 70s, but not, I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I would like to be an adult in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's different, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's true.
Paul, is there anything else you want to tell me? Just we talked about food now with friends.
Yeah, that's true.
Friends over
Just
food.
that we have, we're working on a Los Pequeños live album.
Okay,
So that
that's
should
new.
be out in October.
Oh, great.
We've
Great
got
to
the
know.
No Parlez tour, and then after the No Parlez tour and Christmas, then I'm working on the next Paul Young album, which is 80% there.
Wow.
Almost complete.
You're super busy.
Super
That's
busy at the moment.
Well, big cheer for the 2018 and 2019.
Yeah.
Watch this space. Paul Young is on his way. So say a big hello to everybody out there.
Ciao tutti.
Ciao a tutti!